Hey, hey.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the State of the Auxiliary Podcast. I did it the wrong way. State of the Auxiliary Podcast. Episode 39, y'all. And we're back with a Under the Spotlight episode. We have a great guest for you tonight that we can't wait for you to meet, to get to know her story, her journey, and all the things. All the things. But before we begin, y'all know what question it's going to be. Quay,
Yeah.
your state of the auxiliary.
Interesting. My state of the auxiliary, honestly, is to be transparent. When you're going to the next level in dance, per se, it could be a lot different than what you were used to, before. So really just being transparent and letting people know what to expect.
Okay. All right. Well, my state of the auxiliary is always learning, education. I feel like the more we are educated, the more that we learn from each other. We grow together. And again, we don't have to make mistakes that people have already made those mistakes before us so that we can know. The good thing is with technology, social media, all of the things that's happening now in the auxiliary world and how much auxiliary gets so much spotlight, there are so many avenues for us to learn what used to be when I was coming through, because I know I'm old. When I was coming through, we didn't know. You just had to kind of figure it out. If you didn't know nobody who had went before you, you wouldn't know anything. So now there's so much communication through social media, through all of the YouTube channels and things. There are so many ways for people to figure things out and get more exposure to camps and everything. We didn't have all that when I was in school or going to college, So it's just great to see how, we are learning from our past, from our present, and from those who have experienced it, so that each year is making it better and better for those individuals that are going to the teams and all the things like that. So I'm excited. Because I know that it's going to be a great conversation tonight.
It is.
All right. But before we get into the things, Quay, do you have a special announcement?
Yes. Hey, y'all. So Coach Kat and Coach Quay will be hosting a 5th quarter majorette count class. We will have Motion of the Ocean versus Golden Girl, and it will be held November 30th, 2024 from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. The class is $15 per dancer for pre-registration. And at the door, it's $20. If you want to pre-register, go ahead and cash app Quay and Sean 4 with your name and 5th quarter in the notes. Class will be held at Duncanville Fieldhouse, which is at 1700 South Main Street, Duncanville, Texas, 75137. Class will be on the 2nd floor in Studio 1. Now, please don't forget your water. Okay? If you need a towel, if you know you sweat, bring a towel. Okay? Because we're going to be dancing.
If you don't bring no water, you ain't no real dancer. Dancers bring water. Water.
Not no Powerade. Not no Gatorade. Not no soda.
Water. H2O.
More than one bottle. Okay. Class is going to be fun. I'm really excited about this. We've been planning this for a while. So, yeah, let's go ahead and fill those spots. We've already sold some spots. So, go ahead and get your spot now before class gets too full, okay? Because we're going to have a cutoff time.
Because it's going to be packed, baby. It's going to be a bug section. Y'all going to be picking up pennies and doing fancy tricks and kicks. It's going to be a section for the girls.
All right.
Y'all know we get excited every time we're able to bring you more and more classes and training and exposure to styles and all the things. So continue to support Passion in Performance, because we continue to bring you more and more exposure. And that's really what it's about. Making the passion your performance and the performance your passion. All right. All right, y'all. Look, that's all the things. Now, y'all know to go ahead and like and support and subscribe to the channel. You can do that by simply following us right on our YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram pages. It is Passion in Performance Facebook, Passion in Performance __ Instagram, and Passion in Performance YouTube. You can also subscribe to our other Instagram page, which is auxiliary _ the collegiate way. And that is where we, for our camp and everything, but we do a lot of our following of all the teams and all the stuff. We do a lot of posting over there. That's our very, very active Instagram page. All right. So make sure that you follow Passion and Performance on Instagram and Auxiliary the Collegiate Way, because we always tagging each other in everything that we do. All right. So anyway, guys, we're ready to bring up our special guest, get into this conversation, and allow y'all to learn. Okay, everybody we bring on, we get more and more nuggets of what it was like yesteryear and all the things. And I know it's going to be a great conversation with our special guest, Miss Tynell Jackson of Motion of the Ocean, baby. For those who don't know where that is, baby, them the girls that be
great. They know who that is
and swagging.
And they know who that is.
Oh, baby, it be giving you all the things, okay? It gives you all the things. I don't know where they get it from, but it's just like they just had this groove.
And do.
Y'all forgot it's y'all's favorite team stands to repeat. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me not say that. Okay, anyway, so with that being said, y'all look, take a little clip, little short snippet at this.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. I hope that y'all are genuinely ready to meet our guest. And if not, it's okay, because you're going to meet her anyway. Okay. This is Miss Tynell Jackson. Hey, Tynell.
How y'all doing?
Hey. Hey, girl.
Well, Quay, go ahead and start.
Yeah.
Hey, Tynell. So, I have been wanting to get you on here for a minute. I've been telling Brandon I want to do Tynell. I want Tynell to do an interview. She needs to do one. And we finally got you here. Yes. I'm excited. I know that you're going to be giving off a lot of gems and just having a great conversation and letting people hear your story. So for starters, I would like for you to go ahead and let the people know who you are and tell them about yourself.
So I'm just going to give y'all some background about myself, of course. I am originally from New Orleans, Louisiana. I moved down here to Houston after Hurricane Katrina. I think I was only about 5 years old, so y'all can imagine I could barely remember any of it. I grew up in a family of nothing but performers. My mama, she was always doing music. She was rapping, of course. My uncle, he was a band director, so I was always around instruments. My other uncle, he did music as well. And my grandfather, he was an actor. So I was always around performers. I was always around people who just inspired me to do different things. I grew up the third child out of 7, so I had a big family. Most of my life, me and my siblings took care of my grandmother. Unfortunately, she did have lupus. She had MS, so she was paralyzed, her whole body. So growing up, I was taking care of her from a young age, being in first grade, going with her alone to the grocery store, just grocery shopping with her. So that just taught me a lot of discipline growing up. So it's just a blessing just being around so many people that influenced me to be the person that I am today. I like to do many different things. I act as well. I sing. And like I said, my family, they influenced that. My grandfather, he influenced me greatly with all the movies that he's been in, which is actually the reason why I've taken on acting growing up, starting in middle school all the way throughout college. So like I said, it's just a blessing to have been around so many influential people and people that loved me and just cared for me and just allowed me to just get better at each craft that I focused in. And that's very important for each child, just having somebody around you that supports you in everything that you're doing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Brandy.
Another thing I can say, that as I was growing up, I had to find different things to keep myself busy. You know, growing up all over Houston. Like I said, I moved down here in Texas at a young age, so I was living all over Houston. Like I first was living in A-Leaf, and we know how these areas get out here in Houston. So as a young child, you have to find something to keep you busy. So I started dancing. I was never in a dance class at a young age. I was always like dancing out in the streets with my friends, making up choreography, making up routines, just recording videos, just doing something with myself, just doing something that I love to do. And I'm glad that I continue to do it because I really plan on spreading this talent and spreading this blessing amongst many other people.
I
Hmm.
love that.
All right. That's really amazing. And I heard you say that you didn't take formal classes, that you started out in, with your friends on the street, playing around, just kind of, I would assume maybe a hobby or just something you had fun doing back in the day. I think a lot of us did that. How and when did you find yourself getting serious about the art of dance? When did that turn take a when did it click for you that I think I got something going on here?
It actually wasn't until my sophomore year of high school. I went to Milby High School out here in Southeast Houston, Texas, and I didn't really know what major it was because before high school, I really just did hip hop. I was always doing hip hop. So when I got to high school, I met this friend named Milton, and he danced on this dance team at my school. And it was such a small population of black people at the school anyway, so it was kind of like I was looking at these people who were older than me doing something that I've never seen before. So it became something that I became obsessed with at an early age. I want to say in high school I became obsessed with it, especially seeing how because dance it can cause you to become more fluid with your body, and I wanted to learn to become more fluid. And like I said, it wasn't until high school, my first year of being involved in dance. I wasn't a dancer, but I was like the dance manager of the dance team. So I was holding their little water bottles and their little practice bags, going to every game, no matter what it was, and just studying each girl. I remember they had a captain. I was just always watching her because she was just so flexible. And I'm thinking, like, Lord, am I ever gonna be that type of flexible? Are you ever gonna bless me with them ligaments? Like, but it was just a blessing to just sit back and just watch before I was to get up. Because in order for you to actually be able to execute something, you got to be able to learn first. So me and my sister, my sister and I, we were both dance managers, so we would go to each football game. My junior year of high school, that's when I finally decided, okay, I'm gonna go out for this team. I actually made the team, thank God, and it was
Amen.
an experience. Yeah, it was an experience because, like I said, it was such a small population of Black people at the school anyway. So it was kind of you gotta fight for your spot. You have to.
Mm.
Same time, it was a majorette team. So me being from New Orleans and seeing all these teams, something told me like, girl, it ain't nothing that you can't do that you ain't seen already. God put it in you, so it ain't nothing to just go ahead and do it. And I just went ahead and did it. As you can see, I have like real bad anxiety, but each time I know I can do something, I know that God gave me a certain power to do it. I just go ahead and do it and just shake them nerves off. So I made the team my junior year of high school. Like I said, it was a good experience, and it wasn't until my senior year of high school where I auditioned to be captain. I tried out for captain. Um, I want to say I made it. It's kind of weird the way my coach did our titles. We had like four officers, and I think the lowest officer was a lieutenant. So we had one lieutenant, and she had her title. But with our captains, she didn't really want to give us a head title because we were all good at different things. Like let's say, for example, I was good with musicality. I was good with like count selection and etc. Making up choreography. Where the other girl, she was good with flexibility. She was good with choreography as well. Versus the other girl who was good with technique. So it was like we were all good at different things. Where coach was like, yeah, I'm not giving y'all the title. I want y'all to all. I want to see how y'all can work together. because when you're working with a lot of teenage girls, that can be hard too. So she and I kind of and I'm kind of grateful for her doing that as well, because that kind of forces you to grow up. It kind of forces you to be disciplined and have that type of decorum to be like, okay, let's put aside what we got going on and just work on this choreography. We frustrated because I can't do what you could do, but you could do what she can't do, and then you can do what I can't. So it was like an experience to learn from somebody else. And by the time I got to college, thank God I was able to learn from these girls, and they were able to learn something from me, which is always a blessing. And at the same time, as I was dancing in high school, I was very involved in theater. At the same time, I was performing on stage, and step team as well. I was going downtown performing at Tuts Theater Under the Stars for the different musicals I was doing, because I was also dancing on stage and singing at the same time. So I kept my body busy that whole time, as well as still having to go home and still take care of grandma and bathe grandma by the end of the night. So it was just, I guess, high school. It really helped me become the dancer that I needed to be for college, because at a young age, I was going through what a lot of people can't say that they've been through. I was going through a lot of things that I didn't know that I should have been going through. You know what I mean? I was going through a lot of things that gave me a lot of responsibility as a little child. So yeah, I'm very grateful for my high school dance experience. Very grateful. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I hear you say you hadn't danced like major until like your junior year, sophomore junior year. Okay, so how do you feel the difference was between college and high school? Like what made it different?
Well, the difference is actually funny because, like I said, my high school is literally only 10 minutes away from TSU, but the difference in environment is so drastic. Like, let's say for example, like majorette. Let's say for example, Madison was down the street. Our majorette was different than how Madison danced, because not by the school not being predominantly a black school, it was a lot of things that we couldn't do because it was seen as inappropriate to other cultures. So it was a lot
Mm.
we had to water down. And then, like I said, it was a small percentage of black students at my school, so it was a lot of our personalities that had to be watered down with each count and each piece of choreography as well, in order for us to blend in with the other girls. Or let's say, for example, and it's a funny story. Well, it's funny now, but back then it wasn't funny. But it's a funny story now. One story I like to always tell people to try to show that difference is, I had a coach, and she would always try to abide by the majority, and the majority of the girls, they had like uh 1A hair, 2A hair long down a back, versus the five of us that had 4C hair down right here. So she would always give us these different hairstyles that would require for us to always have our hair burned down, straightened, or have us to keep on buying bundles. And me being a small black girl, that gave me anxiety to the point that I ended up shaving off my hair. And my mama seeing that, you seeing your child in the mirror crying, shaving her hair off because she don't know what to do with it, because she can't blend in with the other girls. You don't know, as a mother, that hurts. So the next day, my mama had to tell my coach how I felt, because my coach growing up, she didn't know how that felt, because she grew up, well, she grew up kind of the same way, but she didn't have to feel that bad because she's not as dark as me. So she couldn't really understand how that was affecting her black dancers, because she was like white passing, so she couldn't really understand how can a small thing like hair affect it, versus when you go into college, where with every game you got to have your bundles got to be down, everything got to be laid, or you can't dance. And that could be kind of frustrating as a black woman, because it's like, what about my real hair, what about my hair that is so unacceptable and so seen as so unprofessional, you know what I mean? So it was kind of like, as a black girl, you try to find your safe haven between both. And that was something that I had to learn as well, because at the same time, while I was dancing for that high school team, I was dancing downtown and around nothing but other white kids. I was around nothing but white kids. So I was dealing with that as well, and having to code switch all the time, and learning what code switching was at that young age, and having to do that, because if I don't, they'll see me as a certain way or think that I can't do certain things. So
Mm.
that's one difference I want. Choreography is another difference I want to say between college and high school. I want to say high school, they didn't push us as hard as I feel like we should have been pushed. Um, I feel like our coaches would have their little favorites, their little favorite dancers. My coach, she loved, she didn't really like majorette like that. I ain't gonna lie, she did not like majorette. My coach, she loved her some ballet, so she had her favorite ballet students. Me being her student, I tried to polish my skills in ballet as much as I can, but she didn't really push us in majorette. So when I got to college, and it was like, boom, hit this heel stretch and do this V layout, and you better get it. I was like, okay, so let me go ahead and educate myself on all these things as well. Let me go ahead and learn what bucking is. I'm small, but I'm gonna make sure y'all see me bucking as much as possible. I remember Coach Quay, you always used to say about me being small, I gotta overdo it because I'm standing by these big old thickums. I'm gonna have to overdo it. So that's something I had to learn, and that's something that's like that teaches you, okay, you have to push yourself harder than other girls because you have certain limitations, but don't ever let that stop you. So it was just, I don't know, it was just everything that I've learned. It was just a blessing because it helps me push on and it helps me teach it to another young girl, like I said, that probably deals with anxiety like I do or like I did and don't know how to deal with it or who to talk to about it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you have unleashed a nugget of information there, and I'm gonna circle back to it in a minute.
Yeah.
But what I do want to ask you is, okay, so we've talked about your background, your early stages of dancing. We've talked about high school experiences, and then somewhat high school to college experience. Let's walk into your college um, transition, going into college and deciding to dance. Did you dance your freshman year? Was there any other teams? Like, give us some of that background there. Was there any options? What were your options? And how did you find yourself becoming a member of Motion of the Ocean?
Okay, so it's actually a funny story. I was actually trying to go to PV at first. Don't jump me, y'all. Don't jump me.
Boo!
See,
Boo!
what had happened was at Milby High School, a lot of our teachers came from PV. Like, let's say, for example, the man that created the entire performing arts section of our school, he came from PV. He was the PV drum major, Mr. Keith Winters. So he was kind of always a inspiration to see a strong black man coming from an HBCU, handling business amongst all these other people and still being professional. So it was like, oh, I wanted to go to PV so bad. And then I was always seeing black foxes. Before I had moved to South Houston, I was living on the north side. I went to Davis High School, and they had a dance team called Skyline. So black foxes were
Hello,
always
L.
yeah, so they would always come to Davis, and mind you, I was in theater at the time. I was not doing major, so I'm just seeing these girls in these uniforms, and I'm like, hold on, they like the girls on Drumline. I want to do what they do. So I wanted to be a black fox at first. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, but
It's okay. It's okay.
I didn't know I didn't know Motion until I started going.
Okay, you came home.
And that's what it felt like. That's really what it felt like. That's literally what it felt like. But like I said, a lot of friends and I, that was on the dance team at my high school. We was planning on being some black foxes, but God brought me to TSU. My freshman year, I did not dance. My freshman year was 2019. Oh Lord.
Really?
And I decided not to dance that year because I still had my grandma at that time. So it was like I didn't know how to balance dance and my grandma at the same time because it was a lot. And by me still having my grandma, that's why I didn't live on campus. I stayed at home. Like my house was literally only like about 5 minutes from school, so it didn't make a lot of sense for me to leave knowing that they need help with grandma. And and it just felt like it was better I'd be around family during that time while she was still there. So yes, my freshman year, I did not dance. I was more focused with my grades and a little bit with theater, getting to know my professors that I'm blessed to have met. I didn't dance until my sophomore year, and that was the year I had lost her. And I think I lost my grandma a few months before tryouts. And it's real interesting because I knew I wanted to dance because when I first saw the dance team, I think it was like a pep rally or something like that. I think it was for homecoming. And I'm so shy, so I would like just walk by and see the dancers and not go straight home. But I told myself that I wanted to dance and I wanted to get myself out there. And I would have like these little dreams of me on on the dance team. And that's how I knew it was gonna happen, because I'm like, okay, so when God starts sending you messages like that, can't nobody tell you nothing else, because when he put it in motion, can't nobody stop it. So that's how I already knew. So I was like, okay, 2020 come around. Now it's time for auditions. We had to do it over the phone. So I went ahead. I learned this routine. It's hard. It was crazy because we doing all these axle turns and we doing all this technique and all this popping. And I'm trying to see my right from my left on this video. It was really freaking, and I was so scared. Oh, I forgot to mention, but I was actually late turning in my audition video. I think I was about I wasn't a week late. I wasn't that crazy, but I was about like 3 days late because I didn't know they had auditions. But when I saw that it was posted, I think I emailed Miss Coach, and I was like, "Oh my God, I've been following y'all, and I really want to dance. Can you please give me a chance?" Blah 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 blah. And she was like, "Go ahead and send your video, girl." So I went ahead and sent my.
Sound like Miss Coach. That
Yeah.
sounds just like her.
I went ahead and sent my videos. I didn't know what a headshot was, but I looked up and I figured out what a headshot was, and I figured out how to make a headshot, and I sent it to her. But yeah, like I said, I went ahead and I learned the choreography, and I think I was doing all of this in my living room, doing it all in my living room. My papa was living with us at the time, so I was like, "Papa, you gonna have to move out the living room right now. You go in my room for a little bit. Mind you, it's a small house. It was a lot of people living in a small house. So I'm like, Papa, you gonna have to go to my room for a little while and watch your little Law and Order in there while I move this turn, turn, and do it." And I was so nervous. When I tell you I was so nervous, but I made the team in 2020, and it was a blessing, as I met all these girls that I was just seeing doing all these high kicks to their ears on this tiger walk. Fortunately, one of the girls, Alicia, I knew her since high school, my freshman year at Davis. It's like we would see each other in the hallway. That's how I knew her. Like, hold on, girl, I went to school with you. So it was like some people I knew from way back. And it was just a blessing to meet all these girls, all these different attitudes. It was just a blessing.
Definitely a lot of attitudes, okay?
A lot of attitudes. It's just so funny. And like when we look back on it now, it's just funny because it's like, girl, what? It was just funny. I would say my crab year taught me to cherish everybody, no matter what. No matter what y'all going through, or no matter, because you never know. And yeah, it was a blessing to meet everybody, and I'm just grateful.
I felt that.
So 2020 that was the season as we were getting ready to have the pandemic, or coming in the pandemic. You tried out before the pandemic shut down or after?
I think we tried out after. Because it was over the phone, and most of our season I can always remember practices. I don't think we had a coach majority of the year, and we was blessed with Coach Quay. Way. So but I was always having practices. We had rallies, but it was like a quiet year for us. We had one football game, but that football game felt like, I don't know, it felt like we was at Super Bowl. I think we lost, but we didn't know we lost. You wouldn't have known we lost looking at the dance team. So it was my first ever collegiate team. So I mean, my first ever collegiate football game. So it was just a blessing. But most of that year, it felt like that year was just us all getting to know each other, which was very important. We all getting to know each other and knowing where we coming from, and we all experiencing pain together. It just felt like that year was. That was my favorite. I ain't gonna lie, that's my favorite year, because it felt like a transition. It's such a big difference from the beginning to the end. Because the beginning, I'd say, like, crab wise, we was all so shut in from each other, but by the end of the year, we was all hugging on each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we didn't want to let go of each other, crying. So it was just, I can say that was my favorite. That has been my favorite. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you to expand more on your experience of the COVID year, going through the audition process, whatever that is that you can tell us. And then also, what were, if you can recall any of the emotions? You told us kind of how it began and how it ended, but what did, dealing with loss, dealing with COVID, the pandemic, your, now sophomore year going into collegiate game, like what were you feeling? Can you give us a little more what you can remember detail wise of what does that experience feel like? Because this is uncharted territory in two ways. You've never been on a collegiate team before, and you're doing it in a season that's unfamiliar to everybody. So give us a little bit of insight there. And although you told us it's your favorite season, so we know that it was a blessing in the lesson, but just what does that feel like? Because some people will never understand that, and we never know if we'll ever see a time like that again,
Well,
especially with spring games.
yeah, honestly and truly, I'd say honestly, I felt during that season, I say I felt a little resentment with the lack of football games and the lack of appearances. I felt like the team could have made, even like outside of games, I felt like we could have made a lot of appearances with the technology we have today. But that was I think that was the only type of resentment I felt. Being a crab that year, being my first year, having to go through the things that only the first years go through, I feel like it was really nerve wracking. It was really nerve wracking. It was moments where, because at home I can't talk about it at home because they never been through nothing like it. So that was something that you got to hold it in your chest, or you just got to talk to God about it and ask Him, okay, what am I doing? I want to push myself harder. I don't want to compete with my sisters. I want us all to be on the same level. I don't want them to feel like I'm lacking. As a dancer, I feel like sometimes we can be hard on ourselves, and sometimes we don't even need to be that hard on ourselves. It was a lot of times where I felt like I had to over please people. I had to please people to the point that I wasn't happy at a point. So it was just something that entire season just taught me how to deal with those emotions of anxiety, or deal with those emotions of frustration, to where or even just step out of myself and just take a break from dancing. Oh, let me not focus on this count for a little while. I can't get this move. Let me just sit right here and just breathe for a good 10 minutes. It was teaching me patience, pretty much, because you have a lot of times where you feel like you can't do something, or you got this pain in this joint right here and you scared to do a move because you feel like you finna break something. So it's like you gotta sometimes you gotta take a step back and step out of yourself and look at the situation. So I guess that season, it just taught me how to control my emotions, really. I feel like it really felt like that season prepared me for the next season, because the next season just presented things that I didn't know that I would have to deal with, or even feel. Hmm.
So, with going into that next season, can you tell me, like, what were some of the challenges you had to face? And what were some of the wins you faced? Like, just
Hmm.
in those seasons.
I'd say what some of the challenges, it all falls under the category of being blindsided. It felt like stuff was happening fast without people weren't letting us know anything, and it just felt like a lot of moments felt like we didn't really matter as people. They just seen us as just items to get their images out there. Sometimes it felt like that. I say mainly because, like, I'm gonna say, for example, like coming back from summer and having a whole new coach without no word, no, not even an email, and having this same coach tell you, "Oh, we want you to re-audition because you're not the girl that we wanted." That's something that was very frustrating to me going into the 2021 season, because it was like, okay, I just worked real hard during 2020. I just lost a sister. I didn't went through all of this. I didn't earn everything, and now you telling me that you want me to. You don't feel like I don't fit your image, or I'm not the person that you wanted, so you want me to redo it all again. It felt like my next season felt like I had to crab all over again. It just felt like that, and it didn't, and it was like it felt like that for me, but it didn't feel like that for like the actual new people that came in, because it was like they were the people who they wanted to come in, pretty much. And I was literally told that well, you didn't look like the other girls. And I'm gonna get more into that. So, for example, going into my next season, we had auditions, we had tryouts before the last season was over. So the team was already picked. Over the summer, we was doing team bonding, like we was literally all together, enjoying, getting ready for the next season. I think it was literally a week or two before school starts, and we are in a meeting, and we're told, "Oh, you got a new coach, and y'all have to re-audition." Why you have to re-audition? Because y'all are not the team that your coach wanted. Y'all ain't her girls, is what we was told. So me being a dancer, you gotta be professional. So I took that as, all right, let me work on what I know I need to work on, because I don't know who this new coach, I don't know who she is, and I don't know what she's looking for. I don't know what she's very articulate about, and I know what I'm lacking in. So let me make sure I'm not lacking in them same areas by the time I see her. So we have the new auditions coming around, but I'm seeing girls that I never seen before, like some girls I never seen them before, of course. So we have this audition, and mind you, I'm scared during the audition. I'm thinking I'm a mess up. We just learned this choreography. This choreography has so much technique in it that I've never seen. Because I never known motion to be a technical team. I've always noticed to be athletic, flexible. We focus on, high kicks, fancy tricks. We don't really play about that. So it was like when we was implementing so much tech, it was like it was nerve wracking at that time, because it was like, oh dang, I just focused so much of my time on this. But at the same time, as a dancer, you have to adjust. You have to adjust. So during the audition, I was very nervous. I think I was dancing with only two of my craft sisters and one of my vets. But I did good during the tryout. That's what I was so proud of myself, because I know I walked out of the room smiling. Because I know me, if I did bad, I'm going to frown. I might shed a tear. But I know I walked out of the room with a smile on my face. And I was like, I actually did good. I didn't slip, I didn't tumble, and I kept up. There Now it's the end of the day, of the tryout day, and they're announcing the new team. Um, and it's me. I didn't make the team this second time. Before the season of 2022, no, 2021. They said that I didn't make the team. It was my sister Tiandra, it was Kai, and it was one new girl, Tashana. So it was about four of us. So me being a dancer, and before the trials even started, they said, if you don't make the team, we don't want to hear no fussing, no crying. Just take your bag and go. So me being a dancer that I am, I walk up to and I'm like, okay, so is there anything that I need to work, like, is there anything that y'all think I should work on, so that when I come back in the next season, I'll be more polished? And they ignored me. They looked at me and they just ignored me. And it was a man in there, his name was, and I looked at him and he was like, it wasn't nothing, you just don't look like the other girls. And it was just that. And I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know if that meant dance wise or appearance wise. Then 5 minutes later, one of my sisters showed me a picture that one of the band directors made of me. It's a comparison photo of me and like a dude, pretty much trying to say that I look like this dude. So when this man just told me, well, you don't look like the other dancers, and this girl just showed me this picture that this man made, and he in the room talking to the coaches, that made me realize, okay, now I see why they say I didn't make it, because I'm small and I'm dark. And as a person that hurt me at that time, but at the same time, I'm in front of my sisters, so I'm not about to cry. And the type of God I got, I'm too strong to be crying in front of somebody. So my sisters, they were crying. They were crying because they didn't make it. But I'm telling them, like, we literally still in the hallway in the band hall. I'm looking at them like, y'all, stop crying. This ain't real. I don't feel how wrong it is. This ain't finna sit like that. Like it was something about that conviction in me that was like, God not finna let that sit. So after that happened, I just went to one of the other directors. I just let them know what happened. I showed them the picture, because the picture said the man Instagram, so the picture said the band director Instagram, so they know that it wasn't fake. And I let them know what happened and stuff like that. And I wasn't even worried about it. After that, I washed my hands with it, and I wasn't gonna dance that year. I went home. I let my uncle know, because, like I said, my uncle's a band director in New Orleans, and he knew this director that I'm talking about. He knew this director who made the picture and stuff like that. Apparently, they're like two nemesis out there. Like they go against each other teams a lot. So my uncle knew him personally, and I didn't know that he knew my uncle personally. So that was another weird thing for me. You know somebody that I'm related to personally, and I don't know you from anywhere. And then I see this picture you made of me, And then I ask you why I didn't make the team, and you tell me because I don't look like the other girls. That hurt me because it felt like that made me feel like I wasn't good enough. That made me feel like it wasn't my dance. It had nothing to do with my dancing ability. It had something to do with something that I can't control, and I can't control how I was born. I can't control being small. So like I said, at the I was hurting, but later that day I was just like, all right, I'm done with it. My uncle called me. I guess he ended up calling the director. I can't think of the head band director name right now, but he ended up calling him, and I guess they had a conversation, and the head band director called me and my mama, and he was like, pretty much, if you be quiet about the situation, we'll let you come dance. We'll let you back on. And me, I didn't think, I wasn't thinking at that time. I wasn't thinking this wrong. You need to go talk to the president about it because this is something that nobody should be going through. Nobody should be having no picture made of them of staff. Staff shouldn't be making no picture of them, and just making fun of them because of how they look. But me at that time, I wasn't thinking right. I'm thinking, well, let me just be quiet about it and just dance because it was something about it was like I felt like, well, let me not mess up the season for these girls, not thinking how these people just hurt me. So and that was something that, like, I looking back on it now, being who I am now, I don't, it's like I'm not proud of that because I should have defended myself more. I should have loved myself more in that moment to stand up for myself, but I didn't. So I took it. I took his offer. I did, and y'all saw me. I came back and I danced. Y'all see it in the clip. I came back and I danced. But even when I came back and I danced, they made me feel like they didn't want me there. They made it known that, like, yeah, you back, but we still don't want you there. Because they brought me back. They had also brought back Kai. They brought back Tiandra. So they brought back the people that they didn't want back because they knew that what they did was wrong. Because it wasn't, to be honest, it was not a audition to see skill. It was really an audition to cover up. I'm bringing in my girls that I want, so let me act like y'all trying out so that I can take out the extra girls and keep the girls that the audience kind of already know already. And that's kind of what it was. And then it was like the reasoning as to why they felt like I shouldn't be there was like based on my look, not even based on my dancing. So it's like you judging me based on how I was created. So throughout the season, it was, I can say I did have an okay season. I was still around a lot of my craft sisters, but a lot of my craft sisters were gone. Coco was no longer at the school. Tiandra wasn't with me that long, and she was going through stuff, and she had her own experience. Like her experience wasn't easy with the team, and she was the closest one I was with. Alicia, she was still there with me, and it was like most of my craft sisters were no longer there. So most of the people that I had bonds with, they were no longer around me. So I kind of felt like isolated. And then a lot of the new girls and a lot of the girls who were already on the team, they lived on campus. So it was a lot of things that they did together that I couldn't do because I was still at home. And then I'm still at home dealing with kids, and I'm still dealing with real life outside of school. So it was like it kind of felt like I was isolated. I was just going to practice and going straight back home. Just going to practice and going home. I was still talking to my sisters and everything, but it just felt like I was unwanted there. And I felt that energy each time I came. Mm. And that's just something that I like as a coach now. That's just something like I wouldn't want any of my dancers to feel like that. I would never want my dancers to feel like that. Like let's say for example, we'll have football games. I know we have football games out of state, where they assign like rooms to sleep in. Our last football game, they didn't even want to give me a room to sleep in. They had me in a room with band people. They didn't even want me in a room with the dancers, and I was literally in the lobby downstairs sitting there, tears in my eyes, and I'm like, why y'all refusing for me to be around? Like why y'all doing that? And or they'll let some people leave with their family because we have games in Louisiana, and like I said, I'm from there. So my family will be out there, and they'll let some girls leave with their family, but they'll tell me, no, you have to go back to Texas. But you just let this girl leave with her mama and her cousins and over, like, but I can't. But as a dancer and as a child in their eyes, you can't talk back. Or if you talk back, then you ain't dancing for that week, or you ain't dancing that game. So it was like you can't. I felt like I couldn't really defend myself in a lot of moments. I had to just take it and just keep on rolling. And I had nobody to talk to about any of it because it felt like my sisters, they were so blinded by the influence of our coach. They didn't really care about I guess the little people along the way, they was just focused on having that light on them, and that was just something that I just had to separate myself from after a little while.
Wow. There's so much to unpack there, and I know we don't have enough time to unpack everything, but I will ask this. God.
Yeah.
Ooh, I wasn't ready for that. That was heavy. That was heavy. I'm so sorry. I wasn't
It's
I
all
wasn't
right.
ready.
It's a testimony. It's literally just a testimony. Like I said, my experience. I'm talking about God a lot because the experience after this season, like doing the next tryout for the next season, that experience brought me closer to God because it's like it was a lot. It's a lot. It was just a lot. Mm-hmm.
So my question, I guess, to you, to follow up with a lot of what you just said, but just to kind of really make it make sense. So you said here you are now as a vet season. You had to retry out, no communication. And I'm summarizing because I'm trying to get to where I'm going, but I want to make sure I re-hit those points. So you had to retry out for your spot. This is 2 weeks before school starts. You're still dealing with your family issues. You don't make the initial audition or that re-audition at this point. Staff members at the audition, I'll sum it up in the best words, unprofessional practices that made it back to you. And you had to kind of hold yourself up in the midst of all of that, and your sisters, because they were affected as well. And then to get a call, take a deal that at the time was okay. Now you're looking back, not happy with the deal you took. And you danced the season feeling not a part. And I want to say your words were like a crab all over again, in a sense of the word. How were you able? Because there was a lot of transition going on, and just to paint the picture a little clearer for everyone, if you're not familiar, this particular season, this was the season of 21. So this is definitely coming on the fall 21 season. You had a spring 21 and a fall 21. Her freshman year was spring 21. This now veteran year would be that fall, just a few months after a spring season. And everyone should be aware there was a complete shakeup of leadership at TSU. And new band director staff, new coaching staff. If you watched a previous episode, we got Quay's testimony, and we all know that Quay was the COVID coach, I guess, in a better word, of sense of the word. She was the ghost coach. She helped out where she could, And so now to come into a season where, as you said, there was no email, no nothing. You have a new coach, and particularly there was two new coaches when you got there. You had and so now you're having to deal with all this change. There's so much going on. So I'm just trying to make this picture very clear for those who may not be familiar with the storyline. And so now you're having to deal with this season. How were you able to keep persevering in the midst of all of this? Did you feel numb to it? Did you blind it? Did you pray it away? Did you cry it away? How were you able to persevere in the midst of all of this? Because that's a lot. And just listening to your story, it's heavy.
Yeah, I'd say like growing up the way I did, like growing up low income family with a whole bunch of kids, a single mama, 7 kids, still taking care of her mama. It's like that kind of prepares you for stuff like that. Like growing up, I grew up fighting. Like literally, I grew up all over Houston. I was slap boxing outside, a little tomboy. So it was like I grew up having to deal with stuff that I wasn't dealing with emotional stuff. So when I got to college, that's when I had to be emotionally intelligent. And like I said, it was hard. And during that time, it was hard. But growing up, I always heard people talking about me being small, or other Black people talking about me being dark. Like that wasn't nothing that was new to me. But what hurt me was that these were people that I looked up to. I'm not gonna lie. In high school, I was looking at on YouTube. I mean, who didn't? Who wasn't watching? And I was literally studying them. I'm learning how to be more fluid with my body. I'm small, so I felt insecure about some movements. But watching her and watching Kayla, I was studying them. So just seeing her in person, but then seeing how she acted toward me, just because I don't look how she think I should look, because when he said what he said, she was there with him and she was looking at me, and they didn't disagree or they didn't say anything about it. So just by me being disappointed about my quote unquote idol at that time, it just hurt me. And I wasn't talking to God like I do now. I didn't go through nothing at that time. I wasn't going through nothing hard at that time to have me talking to God. So I wasn't really praying at that time. I was really like how you said, I was numb to it. I was literally just going to practice and just going home. And at the time I had a boyfriend, so like he would speak words into me, and at the same time he'll oh babe, just remember this. Don't feel this way when you go into there. Just know that you can do this. God gave you this talent to do this. So it was like I just had to keep motivating myself and speaking life into myself and just being numb to it, just ignoring it, because I guess you could say me performing outshadowed all of that. Like when I was dancing, I didn't really care about what they was talking about because this person don't care that I'm small. This girl in front of me recording me in her phone, telling me I better hit it harder. She's telling me, Tink, you better hit it. So it's other people that have different opinions about it. So your opinion ain't absolute. Your opinion is not fact. So it was like I had to keep telling myself that. And maybe that was God speaking to me during that time. But like I said, I wasn't praying at that time. So I didn't really know how to deal with it. I was just being numb to it, just going up there and coming back. I couldn't really talk to my other craft sisters about it because they wasn't being treated that way. They had that look. They were wanted pretty much. And I can't talk to you about it because you don't know how I'm feeling. You're going to just tell me I'm tripping and I'm going to get mad. So let me just hold on to it and just keep it in my chest and push through the season. Because growing up, and especially being a performer, like I said, I do theater. I'm an actor, so I'm an actress. So in the performance where you have to be able to keep on pushing, because even in that world, they're looking at that. They're looking at that. But it's just hurting that it was my own people doing it. You know, if that makes sense.
I get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your experience is kind of similar to mine, and hearing it come from you, it's kind of, I don't know, it's heartbreaking, but um, what really makes me proud of you is the fact that you got through it and it didn't stop you.
Thank
You
you.
know, you're welcome. You know, you got through it and it didn't stop you. And at the end of the day, you won,
Mm-hmm.
you won. You're doing things that, like you said, God put you in the place for. You know, I look at it as then I was hurt, I was hurt and it tore me, it broke me down, it made me insecure.
It's okay to be hurt. It's okay.
Mhm.
Like I
But
tell all the
it
time.
definitely built me to be who I am and be what I'm doing, do what I'm doing today. And I appreciate you for talking about this because a lot of girls go through this and it's like we're told that we're not supposed to talk about it or it shouldn't be talked about. In reality, that stuff really has an effect on us. And you wonder why individuals become, have these effects of coming suicidal and all of these things. Like those thoughts are real. And so there are people who, we talk about it and they'll be like, oh, well, you didn't fit the essence of the team this year and that's okay, such and such. And it's like, it's okay, but it's a way to do things,
You don't know
there's a
like
way to do
what
things.
that sentence could lead to. Like how you saying, you don't know what that sentence could lead to. And like,
Exactly.
it's something else I wanted to talk to you about because because I did audition for the 2022-23 season and I made it. I made the team. I did. I didn't dance because one she wasn't in charge of tryouts. She had brought people in. So, and I don't think she liked that. So when I made it at the end, she didn't really like that because it was people, they saw something in me that she clearly wasn't seeing. So before the 21 season was over, she put out, like, we all in band, or was it group me? It was in group me. We all in group me, and she put out this list of dancers and pretty much saying, These are the only dancers I'm using for the rest of this season. For the rest of you girls, y'all are dismissed. And it's just the list of like, it's like Kaylin, Ali. It's like pretty much the girls that they wanted originally. So I had sent her a message separately, and I was like, why? I wanted to ask her about the list because I was like, what's the reason about the list? I never got in trouble during the year. My grades been high, so why am I not a part of this list? Pretty much. And so pretty much she was already letting it be known who she wanted on her team for the next season. And I had pretty much told her, please let me know right now if I shouldn't try out, because I don't want to work hard and put blood, sweat, and tears into this tryout, and you don't even want me there. And as a coach, she can't tell me no, don't try out. So she was pretty much saying like, no, still do it, because she didn't think that I was gonna make it again at that tryout. So when I ended up making it at the tryout, I made the team, and it was 3 guest judges, and they chose the team or whatever. The next week come around, throughout the summer, we have to send in tryout videos. We have to send in our practice videos of the new counts and et cetera, et cetera. I'm sending in my videos. So I think the first week, I ended up losing 3 family members. So I had to go to Louisiana. So I had to explain this to coach, and I had to explain this to captain, which you have to do as a dancer. You have to let them know what's going on. I let her know. I still send her my videos. Then after that, we have more videos to send. At some point throughout that summer, I had met somebody, and one thing led to another. This person ended up keeping me against my will for about 3 days. I wasn't eating, drinking. I didn't have my phone. He took my clothes. I'm literally, I don't know where I'm at. I'm on somewhere southwest of Houston. I can't call my coach. I can't call my captain, and I'm scared. I'm by myself. The only person who saw me before I was with this dude was Tiandra, my sister. So I can't even text her because the boy stole my phone. And mind you, this is somebody that I knew. So while this is going, while I'm stuck where I'm at, praying to God, that this is the situation that brought me close to God, because this situation made me feel like I wasn't gonna make it home. I wasn't worrying about dance at this moment. I'm worried about Tynell. I'm worried about, is Tynell gonna get home? Because I didn't, as a young girl, I was naive. I didn't know people prey on people that's in college. I didn't know people prey on people that they see. Like, I didn't know people prey on people when they see your light. I didn't know that. And this was somebody that I knew for a minute. This is a boy that I knew for a minute. So I was with him. We ended up going to his house or whatever. I met his uncle or whatever. Time passes, and I'm noticing his behaviors are changing. He's acting different toward me. He's starting to get aggressive. At some point, he takes my phone, he takes my clothes, all of that. Like, I had a backpack with clothes. We were supposed to go to the beach because it was a group of friends. All of a sudden, all the girls gone, so it felt like they set me up to get, as aid. That's what it felt like. And then I had nobody to talk to. After 3 days, I thank God I was able to find a way home, because, like I said, I was in an apartment. He was moving me from apartment to apartment, so I didn't know where I was at. I didn't know who these other people are. It was nothing but dudes around me. I'm praying to God and nobody touched me, because I'm small. It's easy to get taken advantage of. So one of his neighbors see me, and his neighbors see me tearing up because he see me. I don't have none of my belongings. They ask me what's going on. I tell his neighbor what's going on. They give me their phone. I don't know my mama number by heart, but something in my mind told me her number. I got my mama number. I called her. I'm crying on the phone, crying, Mama, I'm scared. Because my mama ain't seen me in 3 days. She's like, Tynell, where you been at? And I'm telling her what I've been going through. Her and my sisters come to get me. So, the first thing I do when I get home is, I wasn't even worrying about Tynell. And that was pissing me off right now just thinking about it. The first thing I do was I text and I tell her what's going on with me. I'm calling. She wasn't answering. So I call and she answers. So I'm on the phone crying at this girl, telling her everything I just been through, literally telling her my experience, everything. She, okay, well, I'm going to let you know, because you ain't been texting in the group chat. I just told you. So that kind of let me know what direction they was going to go with it. So the first thing I did when I got home was call her. So I felt like, I don't know if she had told, mind you, I still have these, that's how much it's affected me to this day, because I still have all those messages. I still have the messages from when I last texted her and all of that. The whole time I was talking to her, it just felt like, oh, well, you ain't been sending videos and your videos been late. I just told you that I almost lost my life. I just told you that I was just here fearing for my life, away from my family, gone. Mind you, these people I've been around these dancers the whole time. I've been around them more than I'm around family. So it felt like at that moment nobody cared about Tynell, and it was true. Nobody cared about me. I could have been dead and nobody would have cared. They would have just had R.I.P. me on the dance page, and the whole time how they been treated. Like I was hurt. So pretty much after, I think the next day is when I talked to Courtney and I was telling her. So pretty much she was just telling me, well, you need to talk to Prof about your position on the team. I'm telling you that I almost lose my life, and I just go through this traumatic experience, and you talking to me about a position. You're not even asking me, am I okay? Because at this point I don't care about that. I'm at you as your dancer. You're not showing me no type of compassion of even asking me, am I all right? Did anybody touch you? Is you all right? How are you doing mentally? Like I was during that time, I was crying every day. Like I was not eating. So that's how much I was affected by it. And she didn't care. She just saw it as a moment to take me off the team. So when I was talking to Prof about it, they were saying, oh, well, you need to go get the police report. Mind you, I don't have a car, so I have to get on 4 buses to go downtown to Travis Street to get to the police station to get every piece of information they're telling me to get. And I'm doing it. I'm getting everything they're doing. And then the day finally come, and I got all this information. I got the police report, I got the reference report, all of that. And it just felt like they was like, well, we still don't want you on the team. Well, why would you put me through all of that to have me go get all this documentation and go through all of this just to still tell me? And then and then they didn't really have a reason as to why they didn't want me on the team. They kept changing it. Oh, well, you posted this video. I didn't post the video. My phone's stolen. I guess Tiandra posted a dance video of me and her, and they got mad because she posted a video because her and had issues. Because throughout the year, like I said, she had her own experience. So she was taking out her experience with Tiandra out on me. Oh, well, she got this video up. You need to tell her she need to delete it. Okay, I'm gonna let her know to delete it because I'm on this team. But you can't fault me for something that she doing that you know that I don't know why she's doing it, but you can't fault me for something that somebody else is doing. And then they would say, oh, well, you getting kicked out the team for this reason. How can it be for that if I'd never gotten in trouble? I never missed no game. So it was like they didn't really have a reason to have me off the team. They just needed a reason to take me off. So that moment when I was at that low moment, they saw that low moment as a way, oh, well, let's just take her off before we have these cameras on her before the season starts. Let's just get it over with before we have these pictures come in showing everybody who the new team is. Let's do it before all this starts to happen. And it really hurt me because not because of the staff, but because of I didn't have none of my sisters cared to even text me to even check on me. Nobody cared. I think only Miracle cared to even check on me. During that time, I wanted to, like how you said, I was very suicidal at that time. I didn't want to be here no more because it felt like I didn't matter to nobody. Even at home, my family, they wasn't emotionally intelligent enough to sit down and talk to me and ask me, how am I feeling? Are you okay? Like what was your experience? They wasn't doing that with me neither at home. So it was like nobody cared about Tynell. And after a while, Tynell didn't care about Tynell. And it hurted me because I'm around these girls more than I'm around my mama. I'm around these girls more than I'm around my brothers and sisters. And none of them even cared to check on me. Nobody cared to check on me. And then after the situation, I posted something on my story. It was can't stop, won't stop. Mind you, my mom watches our stories. A few days later, they put on their story, can't stop, won't stop. So now I feel, and it probably wasn't an attack, but now it's feeling like you being smart. Or now it's feeling like y'all are just toying with me at this point because you know that I'm down and that I'm at this low point. And I kind of isolated myself from everybody. And I was really that's when I started talking to God and praying because I was crying every day, asking him, why did you put me through it? But sometimes God's rejection could be a blessing. He could be lining you up for something that's next. Because right after that, I want to say like 3 weeks after that, this lady messaged me about coaching. I've never coached no team before. Tynell have never stood in front of no kids and gave them instruction. And this lady came out of nowhere and said, I seen you throughout your whole 2 seasons and I want you to coach my team. That is when I knew God was real, because it was like he was showing me that you are not limited to this team. You are not just motion. I didn't put you on earth to be no damn just motion. That ain't what it is. You are on this team. You are on this earth to do what Tynell is supposed to do. What I told you to do. Like I said, he told me that I can sing, dance, and act. So why am I just sitting here focused on one craft when he gave me two more I could do? Or why am I just limiting myself to this one team where I know it's other places I could be at? So I started coaching this other team, and then I started teaching that year. So it was like God didn't give me a chance to sit down. Like during that next season, he didn't, like during that next fall semester, he didn't give me a chance to be depressed. Yeah, I was still sad and I was still going through it, but now I'm around kids. You can't be like that around kids. Kids can sense that. They can sense when you sad. Coach Ty, what's wrong? No, I don't want none of my girls asking me that. I don't want none of my boys asking me that. I went around my kids with a smile on my face, but I still go home and cry about it because, like I said, that's still trauma. Outside of dance, what I went through was traumatic. I didn't know if I was gonna make it home that night. I don't care. Like that's why I feel so strongly the way I do, because at the end of the day, if something was to happen to me, I know how everybody would have reacted, or I know how it would have been. It would have been fake. It would have been fake outcries. That's what it would have been, and it hurts. But at the same time, as a grown up and as a black person in America, where you know that you are the least cared about, especially as a black woman, you gotta hold your head up and keep on pushing. Because, like I said, there's other little girls that might go through worse than what I've been through. That they need to see me, because they need to see how I persevered and went past everything. Sorry, I could talk y'all head off about it. I'm telling you, because it's really a testimony. It's a lot, because it's a lot. It's a lot. Mm-hmm.
Um, in the midst of all the trials that you had to endure in that fall 21 season, making the transition to a coach and mourning the goodbye, I guess, of your dance, your collegiate dance experience at the time, and now, stepping into helping other dancers and coaching other dancers. What was that transitional moment like? Like, how were you coping with trying to instill in them information you didn't know yourself and navigating those waters?
It was very nerve wracking, because it was like I want to be for them something that I never had. I want to be that person that's going to support them and tell them that you can keep on going. I'm gonna talk to you a certain way, but at the end of the day, you gonna know it's gonna always be love. It's like, I feel like some coaches don't realize it sometimes, but when you have a favorite, like how your mom have a favorite, your children can feel that. Your team can feel that. As a coach, I try to let my teammate my team know I don't love nobody more than the other one. Why? Because at the same time, that means you focusing on one person and you're not giving that other person that love. And at the same time, you don't know what that child going through at home. I was
Mm-hmm.
going through stuff at home, so it was like not even saying I needed my coach to step in where my family couldn't. No, but as a coach, that is your responsibility. When you put that jacket on and when you put them pants on and you say, I'm about to stand in front of these kids, that is your notice to know that I'm about to be affecting these kids for the rest of their life. So how am I about to step into their life? What am I going to do? And that's something that I tell myself a lot. I tell myself that a lot, because the small things can hurt a child. The smallest things can hurt a child. The smallest things can affect the child's mental. The smallest thing can affect the child's self-esteem. It can affect their confidence. So just being there for students and just being what I didn't have, being that teacher that told them, girl, your hair is perfectly fine. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
girl, your curls is perfectly fine. Even
Mm-hmm.
even having dancers of different races, because like I said, I've danced with girls of different races, letting them know, oh girl, if you feel like you don't feel comfortable bugging here, go ahead and get with your sister right here and work on it. Or just having my team work on team building, or having like not even doing dance, just sitting down and having random conversations about stuff, because sometimes that's what you need to have your team come closer. So it's just being somebody that I didn't have. Because as a teacher, as anybody, as an educator, as a coach, it's your responsibility to help that child along the way, along their journey. Because when they get older, they're gonna look back and look at you. The same way that I look at my professors, every time I talk about my professors, I'm proud of them. I want my students to talk about me that way. because that's a blessing. I blessed you in a way. I helped you. That means I'm doing with my talent what God want me to do. That at the end of the day, I'm gonna still talk about God and still tell you how He helped me do it. But I'm gonna show you too, because some people need to see it. And like I said, what I've been through that helped me know that God was real. It helped me know.
Okay.
So, all right. So, one quick question. So, with the way that you felt during the 2021 season and how things kind of unfolded, have you had a chance or has God made a way for you to reconcile or have a coming to Jesus or anything with anybody from the 21 season? I don't know outside of, the few people that you listed that you were close to. Have you had a chance to have any conversations or reconcile or have a coming to Jesus or pray about it or spiritually, where are
Yeah.
you with that season
Let
right
me
now?
think.
Yeah.
I say, to be honest, I want to say no, and I want to say mainly because, and it's my decision, because I feel like because that hurt me so bad. It just hurt. That hurted me so bad. Like it felt like nobody cared about me at that moment. And at the same time, my sisters was losing people in their lives, and I was there for them. And I almost lost myself. I almost was not. I can't it. I was almost not here, and they didn't care about it. They were just focused on my position on the team. Like you don't even care about my. And then I got sisters that knows what's going on low key, but they're not even texting me to reach out. Tynell, are you good? Tynell, you ain't been texting in the group chat. You fine? I didn't get that from nobody. So it's like over time, it was like it. I felt resentment, but I knew that it ain't right to feel that resentment because maybe they did, maybe they probably didn't know, or maybe this, or maybe that. But knowing how my emotions are, I try to keep myself not keep myself away. I love my sisters, but I love them from a distance, and I feel like that for me, that's good for a little while until I can feel comfortable enough to get back in those spaces. Because I feel like why would I try to put myself in a space where they don't care if I'm there or not? Where I could be blessing somebody else with my graces. I could be blessing somebody else with my presence, other than keep fighting to be around you. I love you. That's just it's just where it is. Mm-hmm. And that's like a large leap from where it was before. Because like I said, I was hurt. I wasn't even eating. I was not eating for a long period of time. Like I'm already small. I think at that time I was like 105. I went from being 105 to being 65 pounds. I was not eating. I was in my room crying every day. That was a month or two of not eating nothing, nothing. I was up in there crying, talking to God. I was small, and then like looking at how my mama felt, like looking at having to look at your child go through that mentally, and then you ain't never been through nothing like that to see your baby go through something like that. That was a lot going on with me, and to not have no type of love coming from these girls that I've been around. I've been around you more than my family, around you more than my sisters. I got little brothers and sisters that I haven't been around as much as I've been around you. So it just hurt at that time. It just hurt, and it's like even still, like even to this day, I still follow all my sisters on Instagram. I still show them support. They post anything, I like it or whatever. But I try to keep my love from a distance. Hopefully, I can be able to go to a homecoming. But as of right now, I feel like nah, I'm good with it.
It's understandable. Not gonna lie, it does take some time because at the end of the day, people have to understand you heal differently.
Yeah, and trauma is not easy. Trauma is different for everybody.
Yeah. So and it's okay. Just working on it.
Yes, ma'am. But right now, like I said, I say all of that proudly just to say, like, from the person that I was 2 years ago versus Tynell today, I'm blessed. I'm actually thankful I went through that because I wouldn't.
Hmm.
It's like I said, I wouldn't be talking the way I am. I wouldn't be as wise as I am. Back then. I was very naive. I thought I could do things myself, knowing I'm just one person. I need to put faith in myself. I need to talk to God about it. I need to do what I need to do. Like that taught me a lot of things that I feel like I won't have to experience nothing crazy going forward because I done already been through what I need to. God had put me through that trial to set me to put me on my path for the rest of my life. And then I'm still sharing my testimony with other girls. Like I share my story with women 56 telling me, Tynell, I wouldn't have known you went through that because you come up here smiling every day. Like even in my job, for example, like during that time I was dealing with my brother. He suffered psychosis, so I get home, I got to protect my mama from him. So it was like a lot of stuff I was going through at that time, and I'm still having to be around people and keep that smile on my face. So even today, when I share my testimony with people who are older than me, they're like, "Well, I wouldn't have known you went through that because you smiling every day." Sometimes you got to keep smiling. You have to keep on smiling and keep on pushing because at the end of the day, that problem is not bigger than me. Yes, at that time I was crying. That's back then. That ain't Tynell right now. Tynell right now looking at that as, yeah, that's a learning situation. That's nothing but a learning situation that you learn from. That pain from back then, don't let that pain sit. Don't let that pain sit on you all the time. Don't let yourself sit in that depression. Get out of that depression. Do something about it. Like that, it was just, it's a blessing to have gone through that and share this story because it's, like I said, it's girls that probably went through worse than what I've been through and that feel like, oh, I can't finish. Because I still had to finish college after that. I had 3 years, I had 2-3 years of college left after that. And I was about, yeah, like I felt like I was gonna not make it. So it was like it was so much that I had to do. The first person in my family to finish college, like it was so much that I had on my back. It was like I'm not gonna let Satan take this from me. You're not gonna take this from me, and I'm gonna show you you're not gonna take it from me. So I'm gonna finish this. I'm gonna finish what I started. Cause like I tell a lot of people, I didn't have help putting myself in college. My mama didn't know how to help me with my application. My people didn't. I couldn't ask my uncles. Like they wouldn't. They live in New Orleans. They don't live nowhere around me. So a lot of the stuff that I do or that I have, I had to get that by myself. And a mix of still helping my sick grandmama. So it's just a testimony that I'm thankful that he put me through because I wouldn't be the person that I am today if he didn't put me through that.
Amen.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Each child
so after that fall season, what do you do then? What did life become outside of the coaching part that you told us and continuing school and graduating and all the things? What does life now looks like? Now that you're not on the team and you started coaching, what is this journey?
Put on.
Yeah.
That's when it got a little fun. So I started to focus more on theater because y'all know I'm a character, like I am.
Yeah.
I know when I was around you, Coach Quay, I was really quiet, but like when I'm on stage, and
Yeah.
I'm a whole different character, child, you don't know who I am. So I started focusing a lot on theater. I started focusing on my professors. I started like I was blessed to have the professors that I had because they are. I say they celebrities. They don't like when I call them celebrities, but I call my professors celebrities because they're African American playwrights. They're African American writers. They're publishers. We don't have many of that. Then they in their 50s. So you know they're like some of the first that we have because our art don't start till like the early 20s really. So it was like I was focused on theater a lot. I was doing all these auditions. I believe my first show that I auditioned for was Oedipus the Great. This is a Greek play. Mind you, this play is predominantly a white cast. This director that we had, he turned it into a Afrocentric play. It was something that I had never seen before, and that was the first play I had done at Texas Southern. I was a leading character. I wasn't the lead, but I was a leading character. Then right after that, we do Color Purple, and I'm Celie. So it was like that's how I know. That's how I knew it was like I know God was real. I know that what He gave me was something real because I just went through this storm. I just went through this transition, and now I'm on this stage acting in front of all these people singing. I haven't sang since high school. Like I said, I was performing downtown Tuts Theater. So I was so focused on dance that I didn't have a chance to like, all right, let me go see what theater got going on. So I was able to make my good little theater family. I was able to join a theater fraternity, sorority. It was like boy and girl, so I want to say. Yeah. I was able to meet a lot of new people, get closer to my professors, and just get wisdom from them. Learn about being a Black person. Period from them. So it was just like it was so much stuff that I saw that was way bigger than dance. That was like, wow. I felt like I was a small fish in a big old pond when I started focusing on like the people that was around me at that time, my classmates, my professors, etc. I ended up dancing downtown in City Hall with Professor Thomas Malone. He was reciting some poetry, and it was me and one other student. We was dancing downtown. I have never danced in City Hall, and that was a blessing. That's something I did outside of majoring, outside of the dance team. So it was just like I was seeing things that I could do without having to worry about having to be a motion, without having to be a motion to get in that door. Just being Tynell. Tynell was able to get me through so many doors after that, that it was just a blessing. And it was fun. It was fun. It allowed me to just get more involved with campus and stuff like that. And like I said, get to know my professors more, just get to know everybody a lot more. I was so shut in when I was dancing. I really talking to my classmates. I was just really going to class and going to practice and going home. So it allowed me to just take that deep breath and look around.
Okay. Well, do you have anything else, Brandon?
Yeah, I was gonna actually ask, and I've been fighting this question on this side for a minute, but if you could address your family, because it's beyond. If you could address your own family, what is something that you would want them to know as Tynell today? Because like you said, it's a sore spot, so you haven't been able to face that yet, and that's respectable because all of that is a lot to hear. So I can only imagine to go through that is a lot to take in. But to your family, even through the transition, the new coaching, and all the things, what would you want them to know as Tynell today?
Just that I was hurt. I feel like as a community, as Black people, we don't really take emotions and feelings, so we don't take it serious. Especially like being in the band where you're around nothing but men, it's kind of hard for them to have empathy for you because they don't feel like they feel like they can't cry most of the time. So it's like I was hurt, and I just felt like it's a lot of us in the band and on the dance team. I felt like it was so many of my brothers and sisters that could have reached out to me or asked me anything. Because even though I was quiet, I talked to many people. I just felt like I was in a dark place, and I just needed that hand to reach there and be like, hey, we still see you and we still love you, but I just didn't get that. I just felt like that's what Tynell needed at the time. That's what Tynell needed at that time. But I'm not gonna say I'm thankful they ain't give it to me, but by not giving it to me, it put a thick layer of skin on me. And sometimes that's not healthy because you shouldn't have to feel like you can't have no support or no love, but sometimes you have to do that. You have to push through that. So I just wish they cared more. I just wish they did. It seems like a lot of bands wait until they lose a member to let their bandmates know that they love them. Don't wait till I'm not on this earth no more to let me know that you care about me. So that's my message, and that's really important because I feel like almost every day we was always seeing, oh, this band lost a cheerleader, oh, this band lost somebody, and everybody sad. Let your bandmates know right now that you love them and that you care about them. Ask them what they going through outside. Don't even talk about the next game that y'all about to have. Ask them what's going on in their everyday life. Ask them, how are you feeling today? Do that because you don't know what your brother going through. Because then you wake up the next day and your brother not here no more and you wondering why. I was just talking to him. He was just cool. So just check on your brothers and check on your sisters because you never know.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's
good advice too. Very solid advice, and it makes a lot of sense. Okay, so there's been a lot of heavy moments. We're gonna lighten the load for just a second, and then we're gonna get into our final topics for the night. So I pulled a fifth quarter moment of y'all dancing from the same game that we have highlighted here, and I wanted to just showcase a little bit of that because they know Tynell the person now and Tynell's experience. Let's show them Tynell the dancer. All right, so we're gonna show a little bit of this fifth quarter experience. Be a flash from the past for you, and we'll give a little bit of a video. And I'll let the first song play, and then I'll mute it and then we can continue talking while some of that plays in the background. All right, so let's look at this first clip. So Tynell is on front row left. Am I correct?
Right here.
Okay, so front row left, closest to the tuba section on the very front row. And, she is very small, as you can see across the team. I remember when this uniform debuted. This was the debut. It was your homecoming uniform. And I remember this uniform debuting, and I was like, oh, this is different. And I think really the fandemonium went crazy for this uniform because it was definitely a moment to be had. And this was definitely a season here. It's crazy because as we're hearing your story, I'm just thinking in my head, this season is crazy because this is when the fan base for was going up. The was getting the fan base. Y'all had a media team. Prior to this, there wasn't really a strong media team for the Ocean of Soul, which is partially why when you said I didn't know nothing about motion, it makes sense because y'all didn't have a media team. So it was there, but this is when that upward tick for that program as a whole was going up, and in the midst of the fans going crazy, you were going through hell in a sense. And it's just crazy to see all these pieces of the puzzle from the backstory of somebody's perspective and their experience. All right, so we've talked about you from a young age, the behind the scenes, the team, your experiences, and even addressing it here. What advice would you give to a young girl or boy, a dancer, let's just say that, or someone wanting to be in band? What is a good advice? Because this advice could be really beyond the dance team, but someone who's going to be in your shoes, trying out, maybe not knowing so much, how and what would you tell them from your experience?
One thing I tell them is to just be open to learning. Be open to learning. As a dancer, you have to adapt and you have to be versatile in order to be seen as valuable. So you need to be able to adapt to every category of dance. You need to be able to, and like, don't try not to compare yourselves to the other dancers because you don't know the type of trainings they've been through. You don't know the type of trials they had to go through, the intense training, flexibility stretches they had to go through. So I'd say just try to focus on the things that you are lacking in, because the more you focus on those, you'll get better. You'll get better dance wise. That'll be my advice, dance wise. And just something to focus on mentally. Just stay present in that moment. Don't let yourself drift off, and don't let your emotions become numb as you're going throughout these processes. Stay present in that moment. Continue to live in that moment. Still be present into your personality and still express yourself in those moments, because it's very easily, you can very easily lose yourself. You can very easily lose yourself. So just try to stay true to yourself as much as you can.
Okay. Well, I would like to know. Um, I'm sure you heard us answer it in the beginning, but I would like to know for Tynell, what is your state of the auxiliary?
My state of the auxiliary is just being genuine. I want to say just being real as possible. Leaving everything out, being able just be able to leave everything outside of the dance room and just be able to just push through. um, I want to also say uniformity. Just make sure each anybody you know that's involved in auxiliary, no matter what it is, make sure you are checking on them. Make sure they're checking on you. Make sure everybody's present and whatever they're doing, and just make sure everybody's okay. That's just the main thing.
Okay. Brandon?
All right. As we're wrapping this up, any final thoughts, words, prayers, anything that you want to give us that we did not cover?
Honestly, I feel like this actually has been the only time and the first time I've ever been able to sit down and really talk about what happened, like my experience. Of course, I had like my students are asking me about, Coach, how was it dancing on a dance team? And then I have to just water it down to, oh, it was fun, it was good, it was a lot to learn. So it's just a good release to just get it off me because I felt like this was something that I was holding on to it for a long period of time, and it was a point of time that I couldn't talk about it. Like just me saying the word emotion, I would start crying back then. So it's just good to get it all off my chest and get this off me because I felt like sharing this testimony, it helped me. It helped me. I keep saying it might help somebody else, but it helped me expressing it because I never heard myself say it out loud. And just being strong that I am today, I'm proud that I was able to, say it. I know y'all see me doing a lot of fidgeting because it's not something that's easy to talk about, but I'm proud that I was able to talk about it.
Well, we thank you for talking about it. Like I said, I'm proud of you, and I'm proud that you got through it. I'm proud of what you're doing, and you never know. These things really do help people. These
Mm.
conversations and testimonies really do help people. And like I said, people go through this every day. Women go through this every day. Men go through this every day. And like you said, as Black people, we don't take emotions seriously. And I think that is a problem in our community. So,
And I wanted to say, you I wanted to say this earlier. I remember when you shared your experience with us, and I wanted to say that helped me because you are one of my inspirations. Because I do plan on having my own facility and having my own building and getting the documentation I need to have my own building. And to see you do that, that is like literally that is motivation because I know that she went through something that I went through, and it ain't easy. People don't understand that it's not easy, especially the way that it went for us. It's not easy to bounce back and still want to dance because some people stop dancing after that. So I wanted to, I've always wanted to say that. I just never knew how to say it. So I want to say thank you and thank both of y'all. Like it was a blessing to just be here and to just talk about it. I'm trying to tear up because I cry ugly. I don't want y'all to see that. But, but I'm very grateful. I'm just very grateful to still be around such genuine attitudes and just genuine souls because y'all have a light and it's seen. It's seen.
thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so much.
Tanya.
And
Thank you.
okay, it's true.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that for real.
So I want to wrap up with this statement for anybody who watches this interview because this is a real interview, not planned. This was literally organic
Yeah.
conversation, which is the way we do
Yeah.
it. Y'all don't take this as a bashing thing. Do not take this as a messy, salacious, tagging, running to people. This interview was not for that. This interview was not to down anybody. This interview was for her to share her experience, to tell her story, and And ultimately, in the sense of things beyond the interview, to start healing beyond where she has already. And with this being said, I know people will take clips and whatever they
Mm-hmm.
want to do.
They'll do whatever.
And that's fine. Y'all gonna do what you're gonna do. But we just want y'all to know that in this video was not meant to be
So
for you to
like,
go address and tag and do all the things that the people like to do. This was letting someone heal, to tell their story, to help another dancer that comes through. They may find themselves in similar situations and how to move forward. And her story is a story that many dancers have walked similar roads, lines, and parallel lanes to, and they'll never share it. How do we continue to grow the auxiliary world and to
and
prepare
heal.
the future of what will be if they don't know how to be ready for what is to come or potentially to come? Not everybody's experience is the same, but there are people who have very much similar experiences to Quay and to Tynell. So I wanted to say that because I know people will take it and run with it, and we don't
Really
want to do that.
seriously.
We
And it
know,
wasn't even that.
yes. So we I want to just put it out there, and it is what it is. So, anywho, Tynell, this has been a great
Yes.
you. It's a heavy one, but a necessary must. I think that it's courageous and brave of you to share
Yeah.
your story and to put
So
it out there
definitely brave.
and to allow people to understand. It's not a hate train. It's not a
It's
dislike
not.
train.
Oh
It's
no.
just my experience, and this is what happened to me, and this is
My
how I.
testimony.
Yeah,
My
your testimony.
testimony.
And I know people. I just know that everybody has a fan, and let's just call a thing a thing. She has a fan base, and she has her supporters, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just don't want people to think her fan base and her supporters, like you said, you were a fan of her, you had watched her. So it doesn't mean you hate her. It just means your experience was different than what you expected. It's okay. That happens to a lot of us, especially when we
Mhm.
meet people that I don't want to say idolize, but that we have our fandemonium about. So I just want people to understand where we're going with it, because I know, again, clips will happen. People will take it and run with it. So that's just my disclaimer. I'm sure it probably will get overlooked, but it's in the video. So people will know when they watch the entire video that what this was for. All right, y'all. So I look, this has been a great interview. Tanya, we thank you again.
Yes, thank you
We're
so
gonna
much.
just drop you down and we're gonna close out, and then we'll say our goodbyes off screen as well.
Thank you,
So
Tanya.
Tynell, I'm gonna drop you down, and me and Quay are gonna close this thing out.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Of
Thank
course.
you.
Thank you.
All right. So look, y'all, that is an interview. That is a true interview. That is a true experience. And that is something that, again, that the state of the auxiliary, we look to
The spotlight.
under the spotlight. We are trying to highlight stories, not just of the people that we fandemonium about, but everyone's experience, because everybody has a story to tell that has walked on a collegiate football field, a game, in a program, a band, auditioned, whatever. If you've ever crossed that line, you have some experience to share and story to tell. And our goal is to continue to educate and to continue to advocate and to continue to communicate, so that those that are coming into this world do not walk in unknowingly, the way that myself did when there wasn't social media, the way that Quay did during her tenure, and even the way that Tynell did, because like she said, she only knew so much. So there's so many different experiences, and guys, we just highlight those experiences and continue to give you knowledge and things like that. So Quay, final statements before we're out of here.
Um, I would just like to say, if anyone is going through anything like that, just please look at this interview. It was really good. I really feel like it's something that individuals need to hear and to understand how to get through things and really, save yourself and be able to heal from things. I am extremely proud of Tynell, like I said before, and I can't wait to see where she's going to prosper to in the future. And I'm thankful that we have this so that individuals could, tell they're under the spotlight and testimonies and everything. And like he said, it's nothing to be malicious. It's none of that. Like this was an organic interview. None of this was planned. And yeah, just be sure that you know that. Don't we don't do that over here. We're not doing that. So yeah. You're muted.
All right, y'all. So, I'm sorry. So, all right, y'all. Look, this is our Under the Spotlight with Tynell Jackson, Miss Motion of the Ocean herself. And look, y'all, tune in to week 9. Okay, week 9, or is it 8? 9. Week 9 is coming soon. I have to keep up, y'all. It's a lot. But y'all, it'll be a lot to keep up with. Week 9 reviews are coming soon. Make sure to catch us live for our dance portion of all of the conferences, the CIAA, the MEAC, the SWAC, and the SIAC, and the bands that are in non-athletic conferences of HBCUs. And then you'll also be able to catch on Mondays, again, our episodes where we cover just the color guard and the twirlers and anything else around the band that are not the dancers, okay? We do it all. So make sure you catch that, y'all. We really try to make sure. Don't forget, the 5th quarter is coming. Who's ready for the 5th quarter? Get your Motion of the Ocean versus Golden Girl butt on down. Get into the Cash App. Drop your $15 or pay the $20 at the door. If you really are supporter, you'll pay $20 at the door, but we're not going to talk about that today. Okay, we're not going to talk about that today. So November 30th, 2024, you'll come on in because look, with that much experience in the room, it's worth the $20. Okay, it's worth the $20. All right, this has been such a great episode, y'all. We really thank y'all for tuning in, and be on the lookout for another State of the Auxiliary Under the Spotlight, because we got some lineups coming for you that's going to blow your mind. All right. I know that y'all will take this interview, hopefully marinated with it, resonated with it, communicated with it, and even prayed with it. Okay. Because look, it's real. This is real, and this is real life. And we want to continue to make sure you are educated and informed so that you can make the best decision, and mainly for our up and coming, soon to be collegiate students that are out there. All right. Well, with that being said, baby, look, it's time to G-O. Quay, do we got anything else to tell them before we leave?
No, that was all. Just continue to support us, follow us on all our social medias, and just stay tuned for what's next to come.
All right, y'all. It's time to get out of here. We got to go, but we'll see y'all soon. We love y'all. Bye, y'all.